Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in to Midlife by Design. I am your host, Lori Lisai, human design coach and mentor for midlife women, helping you shed the shoulds and remember who the hell you are. Today's episode is a continuation of Bikini season. I used to be hot. Today we're talking about gate 10 and how the gate of self-love can help to bring you closer to your beautiful, beautiful humanity and further away from the bullshit expectations our society has of women, especially aging women. So let's dive in. Hello, beauties, and welcome back to another edition of the Midlife by Design podcast with a focus on bikini season and bikini season bodies and how we feel about that. Last episode 67, I talked about gate 46, which is the gate of embodiment. And I mentioned that a number of us have gate 46 as our Pluto placement. And I just wanted to revisit that really quickly before I jump into the next gate. And what I wanted to say about gate 46 is just the idea that it is a soul assignment for any of us that were born around 1972, 73, 74, maybe even into 75. I don't have the exact dates of the transit, but if you're in those years, check out where your Pluto is placed. Again, always, you can go to my website and get your free chart, www.lorilisai.com, and go to get your chart and check to see, is 46 in your Pluto placement? And if it is, then know that this struggle to embody, to redefine how we look at our bodies, how we feel about our bodies, is a soul assignment. And we came here to transform our toxic stories about that. We chose to be born as Gen Xers, growing up with all the diet fads and all of the toxicity and all of the messages being barraged. And that was our choice as souls to come here to experience that in order to give us the opportunity to transform how we feel about our bodies. And we want to turn those stories into empowering ones that leave us knowing how fucking lucky we are to even have a body. So just a couple of extra thoughts there that I wanted to add about the gate 46. Today's focus, though, is on gate 10, which is a little bit broader than just the body. It's really about self-love. But as it connects to what we're talking about with bikini season and body image and how we feel about ourselves in the summer when we have to kind of show more of ourselves, more of our physical selves, I thought that it was pertinent to talk about self-love and gate 10. So gate 10, as I said, is the gate of self-love, self-acceptance. It's about living in alignment with our true nature. It's about being ourselves and inspiring others to do the same by being ourselves. So as goofy or as weird as that may be, or as you may think it is, as challenging as you may think it is for others when you are expressing your true nature, as long as you feel like you are honoring your inner truth and reflecting your values and individuality, then you are living in the higher expression of this gate. And I'm going to read from the Wisdom Keepers deck a little later about this gate. But one of the things that this card and this gate talks about is this naturalness of the gate 10 when it's truly in alignment. There's not a forcing nature to this energy. The shadow expressions, on the other hand, are doing what others expect. are falling into victim consciousness or blame or self-loathing or disempowerment, as well as putting yourself into real rigid structures or expectations and judging yourself for not like living correctly. So there can be, from our society, so much pressure on us to be yourself and, love yourself and like this, I don't know, sort of saccharine version of this gate. But in reality, the larger kind of influence that we're under, especially with the cross of planning still, even as we're coming out of it, is this expectation that we do what's best for the tribe and we do our best to fit in, because ultimately tribal energy is about community and community equals survival. So the empowerment of Gate 10 comes from rerouting in our values and treating our body as sacred. So I want to talk a little bit more about this cross that we're in and that we're coming out of. So a lot of this energy is on its way out into 2027 is really where we move into the cross of the sleeping phoenix in February. And things are definitely going to shift. The background flavor is going to shift in our lives. But right now, while we're in it, it is about fitting in. It's about community. And in the past where, like hundreds of years ago, where soft women were revered as wealthy and doted upon as gorgeous and beautiful, now it's like being tight and being skinny is the name of the game. Or it was, because, as I said, we're shifting as a society. And as we come into this energy that's much more about the individual, this is why learning to love ourselves is so, so important, because it's about understanding our value as individuals and how we are just a fraction or a fractal, if you will, of the whole of consciousness, and understanding that we have a part to play exactly as we are. Not having to change anything about our messy humanity. As the consciousness of the planet rises, this is where we're at. We're literally on the precipice of this energy that's going to be celebrating the individual. But we're still feeling the pull and the pressure of a society so deeply entrenched in community and tribal expectations. So as women in midlife, and we're going through all of these changes with our bodies, it's no wonder that it's a struggle for so many of us. And listen, self-love doesn't have to come at the expense of good health. And what I mean by that is, I don't want you to, think about midlife and especially perimenopause and menopause as this time where you just might as well give up, and take that kind of approach to life because you feel like it's just too hard, it's just too difficult, why bother anyway? Because that's not sinking into self-love, right? That is giving up, I guess. I'm not sure how else to say it, but basically I want you to feel empowered to take care of yourself because you love your body, because you know how lucky you are to have a body as a soul. And yes, there are things that change in midlife, right? We reach this point in midlife where our bodies are sending us signals or symptoms, as it were, which are invitations to right the wrongs that we have been performing against our bodies for freaking decades. So, for example, cortisol, right? Cortisol, again, helps regulate various functions in our stress responses, including metabolism, including blood sugar levels, including inflammation. And it's our stress hormone, cortisol is. And when the brain releases cortisol in response to stress, that increases our blood sugar levels, it suppresses our immune system, and it equals body fat. It equals belly fat in particular. And what we need to learn to reframe is thinking about, well, shit, I'm fat. That's the first thought, right? I'm fat. So therefore, I have to grind in the gym for hours, run on the treadmill or run 5 miles and then go lift heavy shit and, eat like a bird or whatever, just like, and maybe that stuff worked when we were in our 20s and 30s, but it doesn't work now because all that happens is it sends our body into more stress, right? It's more stress response. So our body responds by sending out more cortisol, which just holds on to all of those fluffy parts of us and then can send us just down this horrible rabbit hole of depression and feeling awful about ourselves. So how do we come back to self-love? How do we love ourselves and our changing bodies, even as these types of things are happening to our bodies, because of declining hormone levels, even as we continue to receive a barrage of expectations and messages from society that we are irrelevant or that we are, old and boring or that we are old and not attractive anymore, whatever. All of those messages that come to us that basically right down to the kernel of those messages is that we are unworthy, right? That's what society is trying to tell us. And ladies, I am here to fucking tell you that that is bullshit. We would not be here if we were not worthy. So how do we decondition? How do we get rid of all of that bullshit that we're carrying around? How do we redefine those stories that are being told to us and that we then tell ourselves about our worth and how we look? I'm going to give you a few tips. Number one, talking about social media, unfollow the accounts that make you feel like crap. It seems obvious, but seriously, if you're, if you're getting ready in the morning and you're scrolling on whatever, any of the social platforms, and you're seeing videos of, 20-year-olds who are, whatever, who are ridiculously thin and they're just making you feel like crap about yourself, unfollow. So I challenge you to unfollow and then replace those with some diverse voices. Oh my gosh, I'm going to link her in the show notes because I can only remember her first name, but Celeste. She's the woman on Instagram who she does videos where she'll show a video and then she does her own spoof of it, right? Her own version of it. And she's showing her own body as like this comparison. It's just lovely. She cracks me up. She's hilarious. And she has a very healthy kind of outlook on who she is and what she looks like, and following people like that who, if nothing else, show you all the different types of bodies, that all the different ways that your body may look in midlife and beyond. And feeling that will help you to feel better, because remember that what you are allowing into your field, what you are allowing into your brain, the images, the words, the interactions that you're having, all of them make a world of difference. They truly do create our reality. So when you can curate those, do it, right? If part of what you're trying to do is come back to this self-love and give yourself a confidence boost and feel beautiful, then start packing your reality with the things that make you feel that way. So another tip would be to eat for nourishment. So what actually leaves your body feeling nourished, feeling cared for? You know, if you have taste cognition, for example, eating something that just feels like chef's kiss all of the time. If you have outer vision cognition, eating things that are beautiful on your plate. You know, these are just some examples of how to work with other elements of your human design, which I'm going to talk about in the next episode. But listening to your body too, listening to not only all the perimenopause and menopause symptoms, but also listening to it for cues. Like, our bodies are built to actually tell us when we're hungry and when we're full. Imagine that. They're so brilliant. And so most of the time, we're not listening to them because we're eating on a schedule. We're eating in the mornings because that's when we're supposed to eat, and maybe we won't have another opportunity to eat until lunch break. And then we eat on our lunch break because that's when we have time to eat. And then we eat at dinner time because that's when we get home and it's before we go to bed. Who's to say, though, that that's actually how your body is meant to operate? And you've spent decades training it to eat like that. So maybe just experiment. Summer is a really beautiful time to experiment because most of the time, in some way, shape, or form, you're off your schedule a little bit. So why not use this time to experiment with what actually feels nourishing to your body? When do you need to eat? When is your body telling you that you need to eat? So some ideas there. Another idea for embracing this self-love, practicing self-love, is to leave yourself love notes. Write yourself love notes. If you need help, if you have no idea what to say, ask ChatGPT. See if ChatGPT could write you a whole bunch of love notes, and then just copy them down on stickies, put them on your mirror, put them on your dashboard, put them on places that you will see. And I also want to encourage you to start every morning looking in the mirror while you're brushing your teeth and give yourself a compliment. You know, anything that you love about your beautiful exterior self, even what's on the inside, the things that you value, something that you do or say, whatever it is, what do you love about yourself? Maybe menopause brought you boobs like it did for me. I mean, I've been loving on mine. That's one thing that I do in the mirror. I'm like, yeah, girl, you have boobs now. Woohoo! So, you know, maybe your eyes have always been gorgeous. Maybe they sparkle or they're super deep in color and people are always complimenting you, or they used to. And now you get to compliment yourself. Just to look at yourself and be like, girl, you are fine. Yes, remember this about yourself. So those are just a few ideas. And I mentioned earlier in the episode that I wanted to read this piece to you from the Wisdom Keepers deck, which is basically, it's all of the 64 gates of the gene keys of human design, and each has a card, and then there's a book that goes along with it. And the part of the description of gate 10 says that in the end, you are not what you do or what you know. You are not your thoughts, feelings, or beliefs, nor are you your looks or job description. Over time, as this truth sinks in and as you stop arguing with your life, you will find yourself becoming more grounded, centered, and full of joy, more relaxed, free, and at ease. Whatever is in your heart, whatever you're meant to do or express, will simply arise out of you with naturalness. And that is the highest expression of the gate 10 energy. So I invite you to practice with that over the coming weeks and remember the depth of this gate whenever you're feeling shitty about how you look, or whenever you're feeling horrible about putting on a bathing suit, or whatever it is. Come back to these ideas. Come back to this episode. And if you are ready for a cheerleader in your corner, if you're looking for, as Maddie Murphy would say, a high vibe hype woman, and you're ready to use human design to navigate the challenges of perimenopause or midlife, then I invite you to book a midlife mapping call with me. Let's chat for 15 minutes. And during that time, I will look at your chart. I will tell you what I see to help you get unstuck with whatever you're struggling with. And then if it feels like coaching is a good fit, then we can talk about that and next steps. Until next time, my midlife mavens, thanks so much for listening to today's episode of Midlife by Design. I hope that it helped you remember that your soul came here in this body to experience this lifetime. And in remembering that, giving yourself gratitude. You are special. You are a beautiful human. And if you need more guidance, schedule that midlife mapping call. The link is in the show notes. I'm coming to you as your spiritual spark plug, your portal priestess, holding space for you as you find the strength to let go of what no longer serves you, joy to fill your days, and the clarity to be who you came here to be.